Ilia's got a world championship they can fight over. Islam does not. So I think that Islam's math was a little bit backwards on that, but if that's something that he needed to get him motivated and get us towards that fight.
Топурия хороший боец в 66, а в 70 мы его не видели. Я считаю, что Арман более конкурентоспособный для Ислама, чем...
He knows that I'm gonna put him to sleep. Even Khabib. The only reason they don't want me to fight against him because they know that I'm gonna beat him.
Islam Makhachev has thrown shade at the UFC after being bumped from the pound-for-pound #1 spot by Ilia Topuria.
У людей уже есть интерес к этому. Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
Makhachev, who once held the top P4P position after dominating the lightweight division, suspects that Topuria's recent rise was part of a promotional tactic. In his words, it's all just marketing to sell a future fight. He explained that the UFC likely replaced him at the top to spark fan interest and possibly headline a major card with the two stars battling for that #1 status. To Makhachev, this isn't about skill level, it's about headlines.
Что ты думаешь по поводу того, что тебя сместили внезапно с первой строчки pound for pound?
Ну это маркетинг. Они делают это специально, чтобы разогреть этот бой. Ну, у людей уже есть интерес к этому. Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
The Dagestani fighter believes the only reason for the switch is to build hype around a future blockbuster matchup between the two. According to him, this move wasn't about fighting skills or achievements, but more about creating buzz for a potential showdown. Makhachev posted a clip of himself calmly operating a massive construction crane, sparking buzz across social media. While he didn't include any direct caption or comment about Topuria's rise, fans and analysts quickly picked up on the symbolism. It felt like a message, loud and clear. I'm still in control. I'm still lifting everything. Besides the crane video, Islam Makhachev has been making waves all over social media with a series of quiet but powerful messages, without saying much at all. In one of the most talked about videos, Islam is seen lying calmly on a mountain, completely relaxed, staring off into the distance. There's no fight camp, no gym, no gloves, just him, the open sky, and silence. But the message behind it couldn't be more clear. After calling out Ilia Topuria for a potential fight and questioning the pound-for-pound rankings, it's as if he's now just waiting for Ilia to respond, step up, and accept the challenge. However, not everyone agrees with him. UFC veteran Chael Sonnen, during a chat with Daniel Cormier on their ESPN MMA show, said Makhachev's logic doesn't hold up. Sonnen pointed out that if the UFC really wanted to do this for marketing, they wouldn't have taken the crown from Makhachev in the first place. He even added that Ilia currently holds a UFC belt while Islam as of now doesn't. That alone, he said, gives Ilia more leverage in terms of visibility and status.
It takes two to fight. As open to it as Islam is right now, what motivation would Ilia have? Ilia's got all fresh opponents, all fresh faces. He's already got the #1 ranking. I don't believe that Islam was correct in his assessment that this is for marketing. If it was for marketing, they kept it around him. Ilia's got a world championship they can fight over. Islam does not.
According to Sonnen, Islam's reasoning is just backwards. Still, he admitted that if this theory fires up Islam to go after Topuria, then fans benefit anyway.
So I think that Islam's math was a little bit backwards on that, but if that's something that he needed to get him motivated and get us towards that fight, I'm for it. As much as Ilia and Islam think that's a mega fight, it's a big fight, but that's where it ends. It still needs a little time to become a mega fight. And I know those two think that they're huge stars. They're doing just fine. They're not there yet.
While the debate about who deserves the top spot continues, Daniel Cormier weighed in with a clear stance. Cormier stated that Ilia Topuria absolutely deserves the P4P title at the moment. But he also said things could change quickly. If Islam beats Jack Della Maddalena in their potential fight later this year, the rankings might flip again.
He is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter today. But if Islam is able to beat Jack Della Maddalena, it flips again. And then Islam goes back to number one pound for pound. Only because it is, Dean. Dean, listen. Only because it is. Fighting style will then be proven to go up to the next weight class. So then Islam will have done everything Topuria has done at a heavier weight, 4 title defenses at 155, and then the new champion at welterweight. So yes, I agree, he is pound for pound number 1 today. But I think the moment, if Islam is able to win, he then goes back to pound for pound number 1.
Cormier believes that a win over Della Maddalena at welterweight would make Islam a 2-division champion, and in his eyes, that would immediately put him back at the top of the pound-for-pound list. He reminded fans that Islam already has 4 title defenses at 155 pounds, and if he wins the welterweight title, it'll prove that his dominance can extend to a heavier division. That kind of success would mirror Topuria's, but at a tougher weight class.
Ilia right now will only fight fights he's supposed to win until he fights Islam. Because every one of his challengers, right now, he's minus 600 against Paddy. He's minus 300 against Arman. He's minus 350 against Justin. Only person he's an underdog to is Makhachev. So if Makhachev becomes the welterweight champ, doesn't he go back to pound for pound number 1?
Din Thomas, though, wasn't buying it. The former UFC fighter and current analyst argued that Topuria's current run is more impressive because of the fighters he's beaten. Thomas said Jack Della Maddalena isn't a big enough name to prove Islam deserves the crown back. Before winning the belt, Jack was only ranked around number 7, and not exactly someone most fans consider a UFC legend.
Absolutely not, because the win over Jack Della Maddalena doesn't really prove it. I mean, in fact, Jack was like ranked 7 until he won the belt.
But this
Jack's not a Hall of Famer, like the way he don't have the strength of schedule that Ilia got.
Thomas made it clear that Ilia Topuria has been running through top competition. His recent wins weren't just victories, they were dominant, and they came against high-level championship caliber opponents. That kind of streak, Thomas said, shows the kind of destructive skill set that makes someone pound for pound material. He strongly believes that recent performance, especially against elite names, should weigh more in these rankings than past streaks.
Absolutely not. The fact that Ilia is such a strong favorite already says enough about how good we think he is.
I think he's great too.
And if Makhachev beats Jack Della Maddalena, that to me that's not really the feather in his cap that he needs. He needs to beat a stronger opponent. I think he needs to beat a Hall of Famer. If he were to knock out Kamaru Usman, that would be different.
Ilia Topuria himself has been eyeing a matchup with Islam Makhachev. He's always wanted that fight, even before all the P4P talk started. Topuria said that when he was thinking about moving up to 155 pounds, Islam was already in his sights. And now, he's made it clear he wants to chase history. Topuria's goal isn't just beating Islam, he wants to become the first UFC fighter to win belts in 3 different weight classes. For him, the ideal scenario would be Islam winning the welterweight belt, and then Ilia stepping up to 170 to challenge him.
Listen, I think that he took a great decision. If the UFC would offer him to fight against Justin Gaethje or another contender in the division, I think that he would stay at 155. But with me coming up, he was like, I don't have to take this risk. I'm gonna move up to the 170. I'm gonna try to get another belt, and that's all, because he knows that I'm dangerous. He knows that I'm gonna put him to sleep. Even Khabib. The only reason they don't want me to fight against him, because they know that I'm gonna beat him.
But not everyone in Islam's camp is thrilled about the Topuria fight. His coach and mentor, the legendary Khabib Nurmagomedov, has warned against it. Khabib doesn't see Topuria as the best option for Islam's next fight. While he agrees that Ilia is a great fighter at featherweight, he thinks he's untested at 155. In his view, someone like Arman Tsarukyan would be a more dangerous and proven opponent in that division.
Как ты считаешь, кто опаснее сейчас для Ислама Макхачева, Арман Царукян или Илия Топурия?
Мое личное мнение, не то чтобы там опасен, скажем так, более конкурентен. Я думаю, что Царукян. Я думаю, Арман посерьезнее боец, чем Топурия. Топурия хороший боец в 66, а в 70 мы его не видели. Я считаю, что Арман более конкурентоспособный для ислама, чем...
Despite the back and forth talk, another legendary fighter has already imagined how the fight would go down. Demetrius Johnson, one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters ever, thinks Islam would win if they fought. Johnson said Islam's southpaw stance, his long reach, body kicks, and ability to control distance would be a major advantage.
I think it would be Islam because I'll have to see, because I think Islam's going to approach it differently. It's
what do you
hard.
reckon he'll do? What do you reckon Islam, like if you're Islam, do you just go in, try to figure out a way to get that, you know, get to the ground or get him up against the fence?
Well, Islam's a southpaw, so he's gonna probably throw body kicks to keep his arms busy, keep the distance, move, feint, maybe use some judo to take him down and try to get him to the ground and try to submit him. But you know, once again, like I have to see, you know, I have to see what Islam does to JDM. But you know, I know the one thing that's the factor is that Ilia is always gonna focus on getting to the right spot and find his opponents.
Plus, he mentioned Islam's grappling and possible use of judo to take Ilia down and finish the fight on the ground. Still, Johnson admitted that if Ilia finds his rhythm and starts landing shots, anything can happen. The key, he said, would be whether or not Ilia can close the distance and get to his preferred striking zone.
When he gets there, he's gonna unload. If Ilia can't get there, then he's gonna figure out another way to get there. So the question is, how does everybody avoid that sweet spot against Ilia? That's the question, because Ilia is gonna fight in a 25-minute fight. That's what it comes down to. And then you go from like, hey, how does Islam keep Ilia away from that spot, or does Islam meet him there? Right? There's so much, you know, that goes into it.
Islam's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, also jumped into the debate. After Ilia climbed to the top of the pound-for-pound list, Abdelaziz posted online that Islam should still be #1. He wasn't disrespecting Ilia, who he called one of the best young talents around, but pointed to Islam's 15-fight UFC win streak, with 9 finishes in his last 10 fights. For him, that record speaks louder than Ilia's recent run. Abdelaziz wrote, "Not taking anything away from Ilia, and he's one of the best talents we have seen in a long time. I just think Islam's 15-fight winning streak in the UFC and him finishing 9 of his last 10 fights makes him the #1 pound-for-pound fighter." As for what's next, Islam himself has said his fight with Jack Della Maddalena is almost locked in for November at Madison Square Garden. If he pulls off that win and becomes a 2-division champ, the pound-for-pound debate will heat up again. Cormier already sees that as the clear ticket back to the top for his former teammate, and if Ilia continues to win and eventually steps up to 170 pounds, then a future super fight might just decide who really deserves to be called the best in the world.
If he beat me, he's gonna be on the same level as Islam. He gotta beat like someone like me, you know, who can wrestle. He just had easy fights on his career, you know. He beat legit fighters, but not on their prime. If he met Volkanovski 4 years ago, Volkanovski just eat him.
Right now, fans are split. Some side with Din Thomas and believe Topuria's recent wins are just too strong to ignore. Others back Cormier, pointing to Islam's dominance and potential 2-division success as proof of his greatness. But either way, the tension between these two fighters is rising, and whether it's a matter of rankings, belts, or legacy, a fight between them feels more likely with every passing day. From Ilia's confidence to Islam's frustration, and with legends like Khabib, Cormier, Sonnen, and Johnson weighing in, this feud has already captured the MMA world's attention. Whether it's this year or next, the question is no longer if they'll fight, it's when. So who do you have when this super fight finally goes down? Ilia El Matador Topuria, or Islam the Technician Makhachev? Drop your prediction in the comments, share this with a fight fan, and stay tuned, because the pound-for-pound throne is far from settled.